So today I am inviting you along for a tour of my schoolroom. Come on along. Hi everyone, and if you are new here, I'm Pam Barnhill. Would you please hit the subscribe button or the little bell to be notified every time we have videos go live. We talk all about homeschool rooms, homeschooling, homeschool organization, and so much more here on the channel. So today we are taking a look inside my schoolroom, but before I do that, I wanted to kind of tell you a story of how we got to how our homeschool room is now and some of the different homeschool rooms we've had through the years, because it is not vital that you have a homeschooling room to be able to homeschool. So many homeschoolers homeschool at the kitchen table. They just need a place to keep a box of supplies or a closet of supplies. So there's a lot of stuff that comes along with homeschooling. Having a place to put it's really great, but you really don't have to have a schoolroom. Now, if you go back about 10 years, you couldn't have told me that. That's something that I probably wouldn't have believed if you tried to tell me that, because I really felt like I needed to have a schoolroom. And at that time, we were closing in the garage of our house and to make a little extra space. And I told my husband I would like to build a room out here that we could use as a schoolroom. And we did. And we decorated it up really nice. It was fabulous. And it worked really well the first couple of years that we were using it, when I had, a 4-year-old and a 2-year-old, and we were doing a little bit of preschool. But then baby brother came along, and all of a sudden I had a newborn, and then I had a toddler who was moving about, and it was a lot harder to stay contained within that room that was kind of away from the heart of the house. So this is the second point I want to make. First point, you don't have to have a schoolroom. Second point is it may change with varying seasons of your life. It's very possible that what works for you for a while may not work for you later on, and then it may change back again. So when we moved from that house and we got a new house, we had an upstairs area in the house, and I thought, well, this might make a pretty good schoolroom. Except it didn't. And the reason it didn't was because I had a 2-year-old who kept wanting to go down the stairs, and the stairs were made in such a way that you couldn't put a gate up. The banisters were uneven, so I couldn't do a gate. And so it just never really worked as a schoolroom, because he kept trying to go up and down the stairs. He never wanted to be up there with us, and so he would come downstairs and I would have to follow him, and so it wasn't working. So for a while we moved the schoolroom into our eat-in kitchen, which worked pretty good, except we always ate in the eat-in kitchen. We never used our formal dining room. So we had our school table in there, and we had a few little bookshelves and some baskets and bins. And then finally I realized, it would just make ever so much more sense if we took the formal dining room and turned it into a schoolroom. Now, this meant I had to kind of get over the idea of having a formal dining room, and I had to get over the fact that this was right inside the door of my house when people would walk in. And so it was often a mess. There were school things everywhere, and it really just screamed, we're homeschoolers. But I was okay with that at that point. I had come to terms with the fact that we were homeschoolers, and anybody who came to see us would know that pretty quickly. So that was probably one of the best things that I ever did. And so I kind of got over it about being homeschoolers, and it was okay to have the homeschool stuff sitting out and sitting around. It was just part of our lifestyle. So we used that as our schoolroom for a number of years, and then we decided that there were some things that we wanted and we were willing to move to get them. Now, moving something that's absolutely no fun for anyone, but we decided it was going to be worth it because we wanted a little more property and we wanted a place where the kids could get outside and play and run around more. We were on a pretty busy street in town, and so we wanted to try to change our circumstances a little bit. And it became apparent in our search that we might have to give up the schoolroom in order to trade off for the things that we really wanted. And we had reached a point where that had become okay for us. It was more important for us to have a little more room to breathe and a safe place for the kids to play outside than it was for us to have a designated school area. So we were talking with a builder, and we were going to build a house, and we were getting ready to go sign the papers on that house when we found the house that we actually live in. And the house that we had decided to build, it did not have a schoolroom. It did not have a formal dining room that we could turn into a schoolroom. Basically, we were going to have a school closet. And I was going to be okay with that because that was the trade-off for the other things that we were getting that we really wanted. So sometimes your schoolroom can be a trade-off, and you have to decide, what is the priority of this? Well, it ended up that we decided before we went and signed the contract that we were going to look one more time for what might be the perfect house for us. And we found it. And we put an offer on it that very day. And that's this house. And the beautiful thing about this house is it has an office. And that's kind of what I'm standing in now, is what the realtor had said was an office. And it's right off the main part of the house. So we don't have an eat-in kitchen, which is fine, but we do have a formal dining room, and we do have this office area that we could use as a schoolroom. So let me give you a little tour. Okay, so we're going handheld here, and I'll try to keep it from getting too shaky. And also, there's not a lot of light in this schoolroom. This room is actually facing the north side of the house, and so it doesn't get a great deal of light. Now, we do have lights up there in the top, but they haven't burned out yet. When they burn out, I'll probably ask my husband to replace them with brighter lights and some white light, so it's not quite so yellow in there. But one of the things I love about this particular room is it is right off a random dinosaur costume, by the way, right off the heart of the home. Everything is right here out in the open. Now this is good and it's bad, and you can see we do have another table to eat on over there, so that is fabulous. This is good and this is bad because, when it's a mess, as it so often is, because I had my kids clean it up today so I could show you this video, it's right out here in the middle of everything. So, but I don't mind because I really love being where all the action is in the house. So this particular table is the one that was in our old schoolroom back in our other house. And we actually made this table ourselves. It's made from pieces from Ikea. And the pieces that we used to make it are not available anymore to purchase. You'd have to get different pieces. And some other people have done some different things. I've had local homeschoolers who have kind of made their own version of this table, and they used cabinets underneath or drawers underneath, and it's not tethered down in any way, and so you can it does move. You can lift it up. You can see it's kind of askew there, and it bothers some of us more than it bothers others of us. But mostly I just go around and straighten it up sometimes whenever I need to. And then we used to have rolling chairs from Ikea. I got these really cute aqua chairs from Wayfair, but they are not comfortable, and I have not been able to find cushions to fit those. And so the kids complain often about the lack of comfort of the chairs, but we're stuck with them for a while. So there you go. One of the great things about this particular space when we found it were the built-in shelves. Like, that's probably all kinds of awesomeness there. And so you can see they go almost all the way up to the ceiling. And another great thing is right over here, we have even more. So I'm not sure who built this house or what their relationship with the books were, but I just feel really grateful for it. So over on the shelves, we have, on this end, we have art supplies. I'm trying to inspire some creativity in the kids by putting out just a lot of different art supplies and things that they have access to and they can use to create at any given time over on the school table. And then this end is more books and things of that nature. And you can see our morning basket is there in the middle on the shelf, and we have some maps. I like to use those black magazine holders down there to help me organize the thin picture books. We don't have nearly as many of those as we used to have, but they do kind of like keep things handy and keep things straight down there. So lots of great places to keep art supplies and books. So this is my end of the table down here. And then Olivia sits on this side of the table, and you can see there are some cubbies down there where she keeps all of her books and curriculum down there. And then John and Thomas both have cubbies on the other side of the table. Now, wonderful thing, on this wall we have more storage. And so we have the shelves up top. These are all of my teacher reference books and my curriculum that we're using mostly this year. There is some older curriculum. We have the lovely charging station, which always stays a huge mess. And then my Desk Apprentice from Staples, where I keep any copies that I've printed out, where I keep the teacher's guides that I use most often and need to have really handy, those kinds of things. And there's our computer workstation. This is the kids' computer, which is out where everyone can see. And then some posters we haven't hung up yet. We've only been living here not quite a year, so it's okay that we haven't hung some posters up yet. And then on this end, we have some of our subscription boxes. And then that shelf right there is new. I'm keeping reference materials on that shelf so the kids can get their reference materials whenever they need to. And then some necessities like a printer and a pencil sharpener. And then in the storage underneath, we keep other years worth of curriculum and just other general school supplies. And then I stuff a lot of things down there just to keep the room kind of tidy looking. The back cabinet back there is absolutely full of different sizes and shapes of paper and paper holders. The only complaint I have about the schoolroom, and I'm going to be honest, I'm not going to complain much about it, is the lack of wall space. So you can see there's a little bit there. I've got my prints from these small blessings over the top of the window, and there's a little bit there, but there's really no room to hang like a big map or anything. And so I do kind of miss that. I will say my old schoolroom didn't really have that either. So you know, we have to keep our maps rolled up and then pull them out when we want to look at them. And then this Lazy Susan in the middle. Now, this is not a fancy craft project or anything. It's really just buckets sitting on top of a Lazy Susan. And so if you spin it too fast, they do fall over and things fall out, and then kids have to pick them up and put them back in there. But I would say that happens maybe 3 times a year. The kids have learned pretty well not to spin that too quickly. And there you have it. So thanks so much for coming along on a little tour of our schoolroom today. If you have any questions about anything I showed you, just ask them down in the comments and I will do my best to help you find things, keeping in mind that it's been a few years since we put our homeschool room together, and so some of these things are no longer available. But do remember, a homeschool room is not absolutely necessary for homeschooling. Your need for one is going to change depending on your season in life, and the most important thing is that you enjoy living and learning together. So be sure to hit the bell or subscribe for more homeschooling videos, and we will catch you next time.